Now at 4, we're watching scattered showers that are moving through. I'll let you know what to expect and a cooler weekend on the way.
But about 2:30, we heard the gunshots.
A Muncie neighborhood littered with bullets in the middle of the night. What police are now saying and what was left behind. Live from Indy, you're watching 13 News. All right, so the good news is it's Friday. We've made it to the end of the work week. The bad news is we've been dealing with pop-up showers all day long, and it's apparently not over yet. Good afternoon. Good to have you with us at 4 o'clock. I'm Dustin Grove.
And I'm Felicia Lawrence, and we're joined by meteorologist Rob Ellis in the Weather Center. He's been tracking this rain all day, which we do know is good for our plants.
It is good for the plants. It's also good that we had that rain earlier in the day to kind of stabilize things, kind of kept things a little bit quieter. Didn't keep the storms from really building up during the afternoon. So that's a bit of good news, but we still have to watch it. There's still some we're watching on radar. And also, by the way, getting a little info that there may be some cold air funnels throughout the area today. You know, when we have colder upper air systems that move through, we may see that occasionally. Watching several of these showers anywhere from the eastern part of the state all the way over to the western part of the state. But I think once we get past Illinois, this part of the forecast, once it moves through, I think things will improve just a bit. By the way, that cold air funnel that I mentioned earlier, we did have a report, and that was a little bit closer to, I believe, the Lebanon area. So probably one of these quick little downpours that came through. Some of these may have enough energy to produce a quick little cold air funnel. Usually they cause no problems at all. Just don't be surprised if you see that. Temperatures overall have been kept down by the rain. 60s for most of you, but there are some 70s still showing up. Muncie at 71 at Eagle Creek, but 60s really the rule here. I think we're going to hold right around 70 for the next several hours. We'll keep that chance for scattered showers through your evening. Once we get into the late evening and overnight, that's when we'll start to see some northwest winds kick in. That'll start to bring in some cooler air. It will also shut down the rain. And really overnight, I think we're going to go with mostly cloudy skies once the showers wrap up. Overnight lows a bit on the chilly side tonight, 46. More sunshine in the weekend forecast. I'll be back with a look at what to expect for the weekend and the chance for storms next week.
All right, thanks so much, Rob. And don't forget, you can track today's rain with the Doppler 13 weather app. It is free to download for Apple and Android users in your phone's app store.
All right, now to that frightening story out of Muncie. Dozens of bullets flying through a normally quiet neighborhood in the middle of the night.
Scary situation, and now neighbors say they're just thankful no one was hurt. Samantha Johnson shows us what's left behind.
Muncie police say they found 55 shell casings in the middle of the street here. That's according to a report from the department. This neighborhood quiet now and just minutes west of Ball State's campus.
You know, in our neighborhood, you can hear that it's relatively quiet. We're a highly residential area. However, last weekend, it quickly escalated.
According to police, there was a large party just down the street early Saturday morning. When people left, at least one person started shooting.
In that moment, we knew instantly it was gunshots. It sounds very different than fireworks. It was echoing, and it was literally the only sound in our neighborhood.
Courtney McAuliffe lives nearby and guesses there were more than 100 people in the streets that night.
50 rounds going off. You don't know, is it aimed at somebody, some buddies, you know, what's happening?
Police say thankfully no one was hurt, but a couple days later.
So this is what my husband and I first noticed, and again, it was a couple of days after the incident.
A bullet hole that led to an even more disturbing discovery.
It came through the front of our garage here and traveled all the way to the back of the garage, through the back door and into our backyard.
And just feet from her bedroom window.
It doesn't really matter where you are or what neighborhood you live in or what community you live in, you can easily be impacted by gun violence.
Muncie police tell me they have not identified any suspects. The investigation into what happened is still ongoing.
Gun violence is a very real epidemic in our communities that we have to start collectively taking action on.
In Muncie, Samantha Johnson, 13 News.
And residents say this was not the first large party at that house, but it typically is not a problem. They believe the suspects came from out of town. Muncie police confirmed they talked to several witnesses at the scene, and we'll continue to update you as we learn more.
Right now, a prison guard at the Miami Correctional Facility is in the hospital after being stabbed multiple times. And a source tells 13 News the attacker is believed to be the same man who's charged with killing an Elwood police officer back in 2022. Prison officials are now moving Carl Boards II up to the Westville Correctional Facility. That's up in Northwest Indiana. It's a maximum security prison. Boards is due back in court next month for a hearing in the death of Officer Noah Chavez. We've been told the guard is expected to be okay. Our Rich Nye is following up on this story. We'll have much more and what we've learned about it tonight on 13 News beginning at 5. Here in Indianapolis, we have talked a whole lot about illegal street takeovers. They've become a major headache lately for drivers and Indianapolis Metro Police and have actually led to damaged patrol cars.
So now for the first time ever, IMPD is partnering up with a local car organization to promote safe and legal street car events.
Our Matthew Foltz explains how police and car lovers are now coming together to showcase a safe way of doing things.
It's a bond you would not expect. The Indianapolis Metro Police Department and the Indy Hood Rats organization are now teaming up.
We thought the best route to go would be to reach out to them and see if there was any hopes that we could do something in conjunction, and try to aim it toward community directive in order to, pull it off ultimately.
Jacob Ross is one of the owners of Indy Hood Rats. It's an automotive event organization that's promoting safe, legal car events right here in the city, featuring all types of vehicles, sports cars, muscle cars, and even luxury rides.
It's kind of hard to find car meets that you can take your kids to that isn't like way too street racy or way too takeover-y,
Ross is now working with IMPD to now host a legal car show event at the former Indianapolis International Airport parking garage.
The city still owns this property, and it'd be a perfect place. We got multiple levels.
IMPD responded to multiple street takeover events last year. Officer Ryan Deacon says some of those even resulted in damage to property and officers' cars.
We saw an uptick in spinning, which is where people would go out to intersections and do donuts, and it got very chaotic, and people got injured.
Now the two men want to show people it's okay to work with police.
And they went to Ben Davis and spoke to the kids at the school there about this event. The kids were saying is they thought the police love shutting down events, and Ryan made sure to say that that's not the case. If it's done properly, they want to support him and be there in support. And so that's the perfect example of what we have going on here.
A proper way to get hundreds of cars in one place for a good and safe time. Reporting in Indianapolis, I'm Matthew Foltz, 13 News.
So that block party event is happening tomorrow evening at the former Indianapolis Airport parking garage at High School Road and Sam Jones Express Parkway. It starts at 5 p.m. and we do have more information on WTHR.com. And it's a done deal. Lawmakers have crossed the finish line in the early morning hours at the State House.
Yeah, we're breaking down the state budget, what's in, what's out, and what's next. Now, it's important to remember that gloomy revenue forecast came in just last week. It forced lawmakers to rework everything to deal with the projected $2 billion shortfall over the next 2 years. So here's what they've come up with and what passed overnight. They're going to make up some of the difference with a tax hike on cigarettes and tobacco products. That's estimated to bring in about $800 million over 2 years to go toward Medicaid. The budget includes cuts to public health funding from $100 million down to $40 million. Significant reduction there. Also cuts to the Indiana Economic Development Corporation and public broadcasting. K-12 education will still get a yearly 2% increase, and universal school vouchers remained in that budget as well. The Indiana Fiscal Policy Institute is an independent group that researches the effects of all this on all of us. So I asked the president today for her thoughts on this year's legislative session. Here's what she said.
I think it's interesting from our perspective that they're continuing on with the income tax, lowering those rates through fiscal year 2026 and 2027. We're going to see $2 billion less of revenue. Potentially we have higher Medicaid obligations. We really don't know until we know what the federal government's going to do on some of their spending. But we're continuing on with those tax cuts and also property tax cuts. So this is really going to hamper the ability to deliver government services at a state and local level.
So at what point do you think the local level, municipalities, Hoosiers from north to south will start to feel the impact of this?
I think nearly immediately, because they're going to need to start making budgetary changes.
You can watch the whole conversation along with our entire wrap-up of this year's legislative session and what it means for Hoosiers on Crossroads Politics, 10 a.m. Sunday morning or on demand anytime on WTHR+.
Well, it's National Infertility Awareness Week. After the break, a fertility doctor will join me live in studio to discuss the struggles for women and what you may not know about the process.
And it's a much more active pattern. We're seeing showers and storms move through, and we've got another round of storms that we're expecting next week. I'll let you know the timing of that and what to expect coming up.